Let's talk about one of the biggest, most frustrating puzzles in life. Why does that feeling of happiness from something new just disappear? We're going to get to the bottom of it.
You know the feeling, right? You get that dream promotion, you finally buy that car you've wanted for years, and for a little while, you are on top of the world. But then, a few weeks, maybe a month goes by, and the magic is just gone. You're left standing there thinking, wait a minute, is this it?
Well, if you've ever felt that exact thing, that disappearing joy, you are definitely not alone. It turns out it's a fundamental part of being human, and it can feel like we're all trapped in a cycle.
Here's how it works. We set a goal. We are absolutely convinced that achieving it will bring us lasting happiness. We work hard, we get there, we feel that amazing rush, and then, almost before we know it, we're right back to our normal baseline, back to where we started, already searching for the next high.
This whole experience isn't just in your head. In fact, psychologists have studied this for decades, and they've given it a name. It's called the hedonic treadmill. So the idea is pretty simple. We all have this kind of default level of happiness, a set point, if you will. Big events, good or bad, might knock us off that point for a while, but our minds have this incredible and sometimes frustrating tendency to pull us right back. This whole process is also known as hedonic adaptation.
And this is the perfect way to picture it. Seriously, imagine you're on a treadmill. You can start running faster and faster, putting in all this effort, sweating, working like crazy, but you're not actually moving forward. You're staying in the exact same spot. That's pretty much what happens to our happiness when we're only chasing external things. Okay, so why do our brains do this to us? Is it some kind of cosmic joke? Well, not exactly. Turns out there are some very real psychological and biological reasons that keep us running on that treadmill. All right, there are 4 main culprits here. First, adaptation. We just get used to stuff. It's what we do. That brand new car smell fades, and pretty soon it's just the car. Second is comparison. Oh, this is a big one. We are social animals and we just can't help looking over the fence to see what our neighbors are up to. Third, our expectations inflate. The salary you thought was a fortune 5 years ago, now it feels normal and you're already thinking about the next level. And finally, there's plain old neurobiology. The little jolt of dopamine our brain gets from something new is designed to fade away. It's what pushes us to keep striving. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Okay, a new phone, I get it. But what about something massive? What about winning the lottery? Surely that would make me happy forever. Well, funny you should ask, because scientists looked into that exact question. There's this legendary study from way back in 1978 that really put the hedonic treadmill to the ultimate test. The researchers found 2 groups of people who had been through some of the most extreme life events imaginable. So in one corner, you had recent lottery winners, people who had just hit the jackpot. A massive positive life change. And in the other corner, people who had suffered a devastating accident that resulted in paralysis. A massive negative life change. You really couldn't have 2 more opposite experiences. So the researchers came back 1 year later to check in on everyone's happiness levels. And what they found, well, it was absolutely shocking. Despite their wildly different fortunes, the happiness levels of both groups were way closer than anyone could have predicted. Just look at these numbers. On a 5-point scale, the lottery winners rated their happiness at a 4.0. Okay, but the control group, people who had neither of these big events happen, they were at a 3.82. The difference is so small, it's basically nothing. The money didn't buy lasting happiness. And here's the real stunner. The accident survivors, their average was 2.96. And while that's lower, it shows an incredible amount of adaptation back towards happiness, and they reported finding just as much pleasure in everyday things as the lottery winners did. So hearing all this might feel a little depressing, right? Like, are we just doomed to run in place forever? Is lasting happiness a myth? No, not at all. Because here's the good news. Just knowing the treadmill exists is half the battle. Seriously, the moment you become aware of these forces at play, you gain the power to do something about them. You can start to consciously step off. So what does that actually look like? Well, to fight back against adaptation, you can actively practice gratitude for the good things you already have. To beat the comparison game, you can invest your time and energy into real, deep relationships. To handle those rising expectations, you can shift your focus to intrinsic goals, things like learning a new skill or personal growth, instead of just external rewards. It's about changing the game from what you get to who you are. And that's really the bottom line here. Chasing external achievements for happiness is a trap. True, sustainable fulfillment doesn't come from the outside world.
It has to be built from the inside, from your mindset, your actions, and what you truly value.
So maybe we've been thinking about happiness all wrong. Maybe it isn't some destination you finally arrive at. Maybe the point is to choose a better journey, a journey focused on growth, on connection, on meaning, instead of just running faster and faster on a treadmill that's going nowhere. So, the real question is, what journey are you gonna choose?